How's it going, everyone, and welcome back to another exciting tutorial in After Effects. Now, in this tutorial here, we'll be talking about how to import assets in After Effects. Now, this might seem very simple, but there are a couple of things to pay attention to before you can proceed and have your layers imported the correct way. All right, so let's have a look at those and import 3 different media types to learn how to do this. Now, as I said it before, I'll say it again. There are 3 ways to import things in After Effects. So number 1 is anywhere in your project area here, you can double click and it will bring the import dialog box, right? Another way to do this is you can go under file here and say import, okay? Import file or import multiple files. It depends on what you want to do. But if you click import file, it will bring you to the same dialog box. All right. The third way to do this is to just drag and drop in After Effects from your file explorer. And there you go. You will have your assets there. Now let's have a look. If I double click here and I import an image, this is what's going to happen. I have a Kino Mentor logo here in a PNG format, which has transparency, and it's imported here. All right. So nothing more about this. Very simple way of importing a picture or any static media that you want to import. This would be the way to do it. If I go now and import a video, all right, so I have some footage here, you will see you'll be presented with some additional things. You can say, for example, create a composition from this footage if you wanted to. And if you say import, well, now it will create the composition for you in the correct format that the original video file was made in, and it will make the composition for you if it's something that you need. If it's something that you don't need, you can still delete the composition and just keep the video file imported here. And finally, let's talk about importing vector assets. So here I have a logo that's made in vectors in Illustrator, and it's depicting the Kino Mentor logo. Now, when you do this, you will have the option of, again, creating the composition, or you will have more things here. You will have composition retain layer sizes, or just as a composition. Now, for now, the thing that I would advise you to do in the most basic of settings is to say composition simply and create a composition so that when you import, you will get a composition with the logo. Here it is. I will click on this dialog box here to toggle the transparency on and off. So now I have this visual representation of the transparency with those gray and white boxes. Okay, and this is where I have the logo now inside of the composition. And here is the layer, all right, that the logo was made in. Now, this is the correct way of importing. Now, for those of you who are wondering, so what is it here that changes when you select composition retain layer sizes? Okay, so when this happens is I'm going to import it this way, and it's going to create a second composition for me, and I will show you this. So when I'm in Kino Mentor vector logo, the first one here, you can see that the anchor point is in the center of this specific composition, right? So it takes the full composition in account, or as a basis, and puts the anchor point in the center. Now in the second one, when I select the logo, I have the anchor point in the center of the layer, not of the entire composition, right? So what this allows me to do is to independently move the asset according to its respective layer size. So this is where I get my anchor point respective to the layer size and not based on the entire. You see how when I move out of the composition, the layer size is actually the full size of the composition. Now, there are times where you want this, but there are times where you don't want this, where you want your layer to be just of the size of your specific layer, right? And this is why this is an important aspect to keep in mind. Another thing to keep in mind is that when you're importing footage, Most of the time, if you create a composition, it will take all the footage metadata and arrange your composition based on the footage. But if you do not create a composition or just import footage and want to drag and drop it into an existing composition, like for example here, it's a good idea to left click on the footage itself and go under interpret footage. All right. And here you will have main. And when you click on this, you will get a new dialog box that tells you, okay, so these are all the information related to the imported footage. And so do you want to use the frame rate of the footage, or you want to conform it to another frame rate, is something that you should check when you're importing assets in After Effects always. Specifically, if you're, I'm going to double click here. I do not have it set up now, but if you had multiple files that you wanted to use as an animated sequence, you would get the option of saying here, import as a sequence. And then once this sequence is imported, it is crucial to go under left click and interpret footage main and select what your frame rate will be for that given footage. By default, if you've set up your After Effects the way I did, you will get it on 24 frames per second. But it's very important to double check these. And also, if you have some transparency in your footage, it's important to check here how you want the alpha to be treated. Okay. Now, those might be a little bit more advanced for this lesson, but I just wanted to show you how to import properly your assets in After Effects and how to adjust them correctly. One more thing for those of you who have a keen eye is you will see this is pixelated and it looks low res. This is mainly because of two things. Number one is that I've set my resolution to quarter. If I switch it back to full preview, you will see everything is nice and sharp. All right. So this is it for this lesson, and I'll see you in the next one.